Welcome back to my channel, sports fans. Okay, let's get into this one right here. The disrespect of Joker, SGA, and Luka is at an all-time high. And this is by the NBA itself. Penis head commissioner. This guy, and I didn't even notice this. I did a video, and this was on the thumbnail. This image right here of the 25 All-Star game. And I didn't notice really what was wrong with this. And you have, of course, LeBron. It's pretty crazy how they got this on here because they got these two guys, Curry and LeBron. And behind Curry, you got East guys. And behind LeBron, you got an East and a West guy behind LeBron. But that's not what I'm talking about. So you got LeBron Brunson in the next fake Michael Jordan. And you got Curry, Giannis, and Joel Embiid. So what's wrong with this? What's wrong with this? Well, there's no SGA, there's no Joker, and there's no Luka. Two guys, well, I guess it would be three, right? Joel Embiid won it last year out of a pity party. I don't think he's going to even be playing in the NBA All-Star game, right? If he keeps continuing to act like a little girl and not play. And who knows? Maybe he might. Maybe he gets voted in. You know, it'll be a pity party to get him voted in. But he's, the past 5 years, he's been a top 5 player in the league. Some people still don't know how, but just with the games he's missed, how he's a top 5 player, I guess, by stats. So in a way, you could say, okay, he's been a top 5 player the last, 3 to 5 years. But to not have to not have SGA on here, which would be, I don't know. Well, I would say number 3, top 3 player in the last 4 or 5 years. And then you don't have Luka on here, which would be number 2. And of course, you don't have Joker on here. That would be number 1. And the big problem with this thing is this is the advertisement of the 2025 All-Star game. Right? So in comparison, this would be like, we could contrast this to the 90s. It would be like not having Michael Jordan. Well, let's just go to the 80s. It would be like not having Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and Michael Jordan not advertised in let's say the 88 All-Star game, 86, 87, whatever. This is an embarrassment. And some people could say this is racist. They could say this is racist, right? I mean, because you could say that black people will play the same race card, right? And say, man, ain't no brothers on here, right? Ain't no white guys on here. And the best 2 guys in the league are white. It's not Anthony Edwards. It's not Giannis. Damn sure ain't LeBron James. And sorry, it's not Curry. Curry's having a good season, but his season is is going more lax than anything because he sees he's got a pretty good team. Now, I don't know if Joker is going. Luka is going to be the second best player this year. And let me look at this. I want to see what Luka is putting up this year because I don't think it's anything close to what he's been putting up in past seasons. I know it's still early, but he might be fatigued. Where's this guy at? He's been putting up monster numbers the last 5 years or something like that. I can't find his numbers. Anyways, we'll address that later. But not to have Luka up there, it don't matter how you feel about how he's doing this year, and nobody really knows who's really an all-star this year. Maybe until next month, like clear cut. I mean, you can say some guys, but clear cut. Um, but I know Brunson, he's not better than Luka. I know um, Anthony Edwards is not better than Luka. I know Joel Embiid this year isn't better than Luka. Just not. Not only that, why aren't they advertising for the future? The NBA, for some reason, and this is their downfall, this is why nobody's watching this garbage. Nobody cares about this garbage. And they keep changing the rules in the All-Star game, thinking somebody is going to keep caring about the garbage, is because they're not advertising their future players. Look, you brought in all these international players to pretty much be top 4 or 5 players of the league, and you're not advertising them. It kind of sounds like the MLB is doing this when they brought in all these international players, and their league just went down in a fire because these international players weren't able to carry the league as far as advertisement. This is the new NBA, folks. So the NBA, and before the MLB fell off the map, they were trying to do things like, oh, let's advertise the game and have people care about it with the steroid scandal. That's the only thing that kept MLB alive in the early 2000s, when they were bringing in all these international players and starting to replace Americans. So they used the steroid scandal to keep it alive. They had people talking about it. And to me, I think in comparison, they're using LeBron James and his son to keep this NBA alive. Because if your top 3 to 4 players of the league, that's the best, can't keep this NBA afloat based on their play, based on, their character as far as people digging them, liking them, and are interested in them. Because we told you before, what kept sports alive for a long time, and whatever sports league it is, you got to have a soap opera. It's not just about some dude throwing the ball, catching the ball, hitting the ball. It's not about that. You need the soap opera. In baseball, you had the soap opera back in the day. You had dudes being defiant, Kirby Puckett, Ricky Henderson. He appealed to fans. He brought, some drama, even if it's bad drama with Doc Gooden and Darryl Strawberry. And, you just had characters. I forget this guy's name. And I feel like I feel hurt that I forget a lot of these guys' names, because that was my number one sport. So when they start kicking all the black players out, it hurt my feelings, because white people had an 80-year head start and black people still caught up, and still to this day got half the records. But, I play baseball. So for them to kick, all the black players out, it kind of hurt my feelings. And I will never watch baseball again. Never. For me to see this past World Series, the Yankees and the Dodgers, which I didn't watch one game, to be in the World Series, you know what that would be in the 90s or the 80s? That would have not stopped it, but it would have put the presidential debate on the back burner. Nobody would not have been talking about no damn presidential debate. That's the Dodgers and the Yankees in the World Series. And nobody talked about it. Nobody gave a damn. That would have been the most epic World Series back in the 90s, the 80s, something like that. Big World Series. Biggest thing. It would have been bigger than the Super Bowl, anything. But nobody cares about MLB no more, because you don't have a soap opera in it no more. Because basically, the guys that bring the soap opera and the drama is who? The black players. For the most part, yeah. This is the American culture. So the young kids and American people gravitate towards the American culture. But you don't have that in baseball no more. You don't have your Dave Winfields and your Kirby Pucketts and your Dave Justices, Andre Dawsons, and all these guys, man. All these guys. Nobody cares about baseball no more. Why do you think they brought all these black players in from the Negro Leagues? Because they want the black players because it's more appealing. What do you think? If Puff Daddy was a white guy, nobody would not have cared about this. Nobody would care about this. That's just the way it is. It's always been like that. But yeah, nobody cared. You got to have some type of soap opera and some type of drama in your league, right? We always do and have in the NFL. It's just not about somebody catching the ball, throwing the ball, hitting the ball. So the NBA brought all these international players in here, and now they're not being able to sell the game. And now they're in big trouble. And they're using LeBron James and his son as an entertainment. The problem is him and his son are not at the highest level of greatness in the game. LeBron hasn't been for a while. His son isn't, period. Which is insane in itself. And we'll talk about Bronny in the All-Star weekend in a minute. But this is just disrespect right here. You have a guy that won three of the last 4 MVPs and probably gonna win 4. And you don't have him on the face of the All-Star game advertisement on the NBA.com website? What? You don't have Luka on there. You don't have SGA on there. You got these guys? What's wrong with that, man? Look, man, if you want to keep Curry because, Curry is, they're playing in the Bay Area, San Francisco, fine. If you want to keep LeBron because you want to, he's the big marketing advertisement of the game, I guess fine. But you have to take Bronson off of here. You got to take Anthony Edwards off of here, the fake Michael Jordan. They got this guy dunking. And let me tell you what, there's nothing spectacular about this guy dunking. It really ain't. It's just a dunk. Have you seen this guy pull out any kind of spectacular dunk? I'm just talking about a high dunk, and this guy dunking, doing a normal dunk that everybody's going crazy about because this isn't a part of the game no more. So when they see a guy dunk, they go crazy. But this guy ain't doing no Michael Jordan dunks in game, no Vince Carter dunk in game, no Dominique in game dunks, nothing too spectacular. Just a normal dunk. And people are going crazy. I didn't see this guy do no windmill or nothing between the legs or 360. What did this guy do that's so spectacular when he dunks? And if he's such a good dunker, how come he's not in the dunk contest? He's such a high flyer, but he's not in the dunk contest. What about Zion Williams? These guys are frauds. And that's what we say when we talk about back in the day, grown men were grown men. If you felt like you was the best or one of the best at what you do, I'm going to go out there and do it. I'm going to go out there and compete. And guess what? If I lose, okay. I lost against the other great guys that went out there and competed. I didn't get beat by a plumber or nobody. I got beat by the best competition out there. Michael Jordan lost his first dunk contest. Lost. Broke his leg the next season. Was not able to dunk in that dunk contest. The next season, he won a dunk contest coming off a damn broken foot. Nobody talks about that. That would be the most incredible thing that LeBron James has ever did. LeBron James won a dunk contest coming off of a broke foot. And that's why that's why they only talk about certain things about Michael Jordan's career, because his career is so damn freaky. And it would just make LeBron look silly. So all you can talk about for LeBron is some longevity stats. You can't talk about, stuff that's like, why they call Michael Jordan Black Jesus. So you don't have these. This guy's a fake high flyer. a real high flyer is going to participate in that dunk contest. And what's this, Matt McClung? He's going to show Matt McClung, you shouldn't be out here, trying to show us NBA guys up. I'm going to take that title. I forget this other guy's name. I forget his name. It was some other dude in the league that claims they say he's a dunker and a high flyer. But yeah, this dude right here is a fraud. Anthony Edwards, a fraud. Remember, this guy got benched in the Olympics after not bringing or placing in the 23 FIBA in a fake Rondo Schroeder. What was it? Germany, I think, won the 23 FIBA. Huh? And the fake Michael Jordan got beat by the fake Rondo. Oh, goodness. And then wanted to play in the 24 Olympics in the bagless wonder. The guy who can't shoot free throws. The guy that can't shoot threes. Don't tell me about these last 2 years. I'm talking about for his career. I ain't talking about leaving a guy wide open. And they got to, contest everybody else in the league now, but leave this guy open somehow, right? Can't give you no paint work. Can't shoot the mid-range. Sore loser. Walks off the court early. Super team builder. This guy told the next Michael Jordan, sure, you can play, but you got to come off the bench because I'm sliding Curry, a point guard, over to shooting guard because I can't shoot, and I'm going to play point guard and act like I have a bag and I can dribble. So that's what he did to the next Michael Jordan. He put the next Michael Jordan on a bench if you want to play on LeBron's Olympic team. Not the U.S. Olympic team, the LeBron Olympic team. Right? That's why all they talked about was LeBron. And as they talked about everything he is and everything he does good, he's turning the damn ball over. He's giving the ball to Curry so he can win the game. He's giving the ball to Durant so he can win the game. Right? So when these guys hit these buckets to go ahead or come back, what would LeBron do? He'd charge down the lane with the ball and cap it off. He'd cap it off. I told you can't beat us. And then the guy's going to do nothing because he's going to do a straight arm to your face, chest, stomach, everything. And the ref ain't going to say nothing. Going to call you for a foul if you sit there and play. This is what I don't get. This whole thing would be problem solved in the 80s and the 90s with this guy. Problem solved. So you can't shoot. So the majority of your moves, 95% of them, is to the cup. Right? And it's not to the cup like, doing some acrobatic move or something like that, like Michael Jordan or, Allen Iverson or Tracy McGrady or, all these great players that went to the cup and had resistance. Him going to the cup, if you try to use resistance, is a straight arm and an elbow, whatever he has to do on skinny three-point shooters. So in the 90s, what they would do with this guy, they would basically, because he has no moves like Dennis Rodman says, they would just stand there and take the charge. You know what he's going to do. You just stand there and take the charge. And I was surprised. It's one thing for NBA players to play in this rigged NBA. It's been rigged up for LeBron, right? Because they all know that they're using LeBron and his son as the entertainment and the advertisement to keep this game going. But it was surprising to me that even in the Olympics, these guys would get out the way while this guy was barreling down the lane. And you could just take the charge. Easily take the charge. And he would be done. And in the 80s and 90s NBA, not only would they take the charge, but also it would set the tone for you're not just going to barrel down the lane and run over people. So now you're either I'm going to take the charge, and now you're going to be like, dang, I can't barrel down the lane like this no more. Or I'm going to give you the foul and put you on the line again and again. And we'll just spread out the fouls amongst our team. But we know you're going to have to go to the line and earn these free throws. Could you imagine the behavior from this guy, basically, since he went to Miami? Always throwing his hands up, complaining, crying. Could you imagine this behavior in the 80s and 90s? These fans would destroy this guy. He couldn't go to any arena. They will be calling this guy all kind of names. Bagless wonder. Man, you a sissy. You ain't got no moves. Why you always crying? We see why you act like this. You ain't never had a daddy. They would have been killing this dude. These fans today, they are not real NBA fans. They might say something once in a while, but they imagine this guy going to Boston Garden back in the day. They would destroy this guy. Chicago Stadium, everywhere. New York. They'd be killing this guy. Everywhere he would go to, every arena, they'd be destroying this guy. He'd be running in the locker room crying before the damn game is over. Detroit, they would kill him. Cleveland, they would kill him. Well, he played for Cleveland. Let's say if he went back to Cleveland. Let's say he left Cleveland that first time and he came back to Cleveland to play. They would be killing this guy. This is the 80s and 90s, rough and rugged and raw. Right? That's why you see a lot of stuff today that you wouldn't see back in the past. What do you see today? People living in certain neighborhoods that they would never, ever even go in that part of town. They wouldn't even go in that part of town in the 80s and 90s. In some of the 2000s. But definitely not in the 80s and 90s. You see people, you see people living where, it's homeless people, crack houses, all kind of stuff in these communities now because it's getting gentrified, and they know these people are going to be out pretty soon, and they're getting the houses for cheap. But you see this stuff that you would never see back then. These type of people living in certain communities. I mean, I won't go too deep into it in the gentrification, but you just see a lot of stuff. And when this stuff really started to happen is when everything started to get soft in pop culture, which affects the whole world in general, or the United States. When we had these Drake era guys, they start taking over hip hop and start singing, right? Drake took over hip hop and started singing. Everybody start holding hands and giving each other teddy bears and roses and stuff like that. And, and then all the rappers, they had to fall behind Drake, right? And start sing rapping. That's when you couldn't go into certain neighborhoods anymore. And guys weren't tough. weren't tough no more. And I tell people that all the time. That's when the hood turned soft. The hood turned soft. You couldn't go back in the hood like that back in the day. The hood turned soft when Drake took over the game from Canada, from Degrassi High, that grew up rich with a silver spoon in his mouth. Drake took over the game. How about about that same time, Bruno Mars took over R&B. So you no longer have black people running hip hop or R&B. It was Bruno Mars, and you could throw Adele in there. How about Adele? Adele was just soul music back in the 2010s. And I'm not and they pretty much took over the game, man. I mean, listen, let's get back on track. I just look at some things and you just can't even believe. Me growing up in the 80s, 90s, me knowing, American pop culture history, and, it's crazy, man. But it just coincides with the LeBron era. Everything's soft, everything girly, everything wants to be given, not earned. And, we talked about this in the last video. We talked about the All-Star game, and this whole thing is a gimmick. And hey, I wouldn't be surprised if they revamped this whole image right here, the All-Star 2025, and they just slide Bronny James in there, right? Because one of the other gimmicks is that G League players are going to be playing in the All-Star game. And they're going to be competing in a tournament. This new tournament they got for the All-Star game, right? No longer East versus West. And this thing is supposed to solve the problem, right? The problem was that players are shooting too many threes. That players aren't playing positional basketball, which means they have a lack of skills, right? When we talk about positional basketball and we talk about skills at every position, power forward, shooting guard, point guard, center, whatever, you're supposed to have a certain skill at that position, right? So David Robinson wasn't shooting threes. He had a certain skill for the center position, right? John Stockton was not down there posting up on the block. He had to have a certain skill for his position. And that's what I'm talking about. Everybody can't have the same damn skill and play the same damn position. And that's what we got today. With I would say about 99% of these players today. So what we heard, they're going to have the G League players on it. I don't know why. Why are they so important now in the All-Star game? Oh, because Bronny James came to the league. Now it's so important now, right? Oh, man. So they're going to break these all-stars up in teams, and they're going to have a tournament. And they claim it's going to be quick, fast, the first team to 40, next team to 25 or something like that. It's crazy. And still, I haven't figured out based on what, who's going to be on what team. Based on what? Who's going to be on what team? So you already know your two best players in the league the past few years, Joker and Luka, they wasn't interested in an all-star game the past 3 years. And I'm probably not going to be interested in this one. And Joker, it don't seem like he's interested in too much in this NBA because he knows that for him to get to the point to where he's at, he had a practice on his game. He had to be in the gym. He had to be a no-nonsense type of guy. And in reality, he knows that the NBA isn't selling this league based on greatness. He knows. You could see his character when he's in interviews and different things, and he just, it looks like he's disappointed. Yes, he's happy to play for the NBA, but he knows this whole thing is a gimmick. He wants to compete. But when he goes to the All-Star game and they're picking him last and doing all this, he really don't care. He's like, they're not taking this game serious. They don't. He's not interested, and I don't blame him. But this right here is more disrespect to Joker. Whether you believe what era he can play, and I'm hard on this guy. I'm like, oh, he can't play in this era, this and that. That's irrelevant, and that's why we don't. I don't try to. When I do my top 5, I don't compare eras. I compare what you did in your era to be in my top 10, top 5, whatever like that. So I don't say, oh, yeah, Kobe Bryant, he better than Magic because, this and that and that. No, I compare what you did in your era. When I see Magic Johnson with 5 championships, what he had, 3 MVPs, 3 finals MVPs, 2 steals titles, and 4 assist titles. And he came into the league and won a championship and went to the finals without Kareem and was winning finals MVPs in Kareem's face and winning MVPs in Kareem's face. You got to be crazy if you think I'm going to put Kobe Bryant in front of Magic Johnson. You got to be crazy. It's not going to happen. You can't say, oh, Kobe was a better shooter. Okay. Kobe a better scorer. Okay, he should at least have 5 scoring titles. He don't have no steals titles. He only got 2 statistical titles. Not defend Kobe, and I tell you how great Kobe is, but he's not a better player. This ain't a one-on-one game. He's not better than Magic Johnson. He's not. He's better than a lot of players, but he's not better than Magic Johnson. And Magic Johnson showed that as a leader, statistical titles, MVPs, finals MVPs, championships. He wasn't choking. Oh man, he had this team. He could have been choking. LeBron had this team. Durant has this team. All these players had this team. The big 3 Celtics, 1 championship in like 6 years together. How about that Miami Heat team? I think they were together for like 3 or 4 seasons with Shaq, D Wade, Peyton, Alonzo Mourning. 1 championship and 1 finals appearance. You guys got to remember, when you do what you got to do, it's more respectable. When they say, oh man, Wilt was bigger than everybody else, man. This is why he did this. This is why he did that. He did what he was supposed to do. Wilt, with his height, with his skills, and all this, he did what he was supposed to do. Right? And more. 11 rebound titles, 7 scoring titles, and most of them scoring titles and rebound titles were together. An assist title would have had about 5 block titles. He did what he was supposed to do. Be a dominant player. Michael Jordan did what he was supposed to do. Magic Johnson did what he was supposed to do based on his skills, based on his leadership. Larry Bird did what he was supposed to do. All the greats, if you're great, you're supposed to do what you're supposed to do as an all-time great player that's better than most of the other players. As a top player. No, you got this. This era makes up so many excuses. It's crazy. It's nuts. Wemby ain't doing what he's supposed to do. I'm sorry, folks. That 20 points per game that he averaged as a rookie, LeBron averaged that in 2003. Michael Jordan averaged 28. And those guys were in a tougher league. You guys got to stop. Wemby is supposed to be dominating. He's supposed to be. LeBron put up 27 points per game in his second season. What, 27, 7, and 7? What are we talking about? Anthony Edwards, in this weak, soft era, that's Michael Jordan. You're supposed to be putting up, I don't know, 35, 7 and 7? You're young now. You're supposed to be the next Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan will be putting up 40, 7 and 7 in this era without shooting all these threes. And nobody in the paint? What are we talking about? You ain't even putting up the stat lines that Luka was putting up last year. Great players do what they're supposed to do. Joker, okay, it's an easy, no-touch era. And he's showing you. He's doing what he's supposed to do the last 5 years. LeBron James, don't care too much about him, but what's he doing? Out there doing what he's supposed to do based on it's a no-touch era. So LeBron is putting up all these stats and triple doubles. And what's the excuse for Anthony Edwards? What's his excuse for Wemby? I'm sick of these guys making up excuses. Great players do what they're supposed to do. If Bronny James can't give you 12 points in this weak, soft, no-touch era, you don't need to be playing basketball. And we all know he don't need to be playing anyways because he wasn't a good college player. And we don't really know how good he really was in high school. Because we told you in the NBA, you're playing against the best of college players. In college, you're playing against the best of the high school players from around the nation. So who the hell knows who you're playing against in high school? Like regional players? Maybe state if you go into the tournament. That's about it. So the disrespect of Joker especially, this is bad. This should be the face of your league. Ain't got nothing to do with him being white. Larry Bird was the face of the league in the 80s. Even yes, it was with Michael Jordan, but they compare, I don't know, Joker and SGA or something like that. I know it's not a rivalry, but they could make two guys the face of this league like they did in the 80s, right? And you could have like, the next Michael Jordan, the fraudulent next Michael Jordan, Anthony Edwards coming in behind that. But it would have to show something. You know what I'm saying? You have to be winning. Like Jordan came behind Bird and Magic, right? And it was like, damn. Michael winning steals titles, Michael winning dunk contests, Michael winning, even though he ain't winning championships because he ain't got the team, Michael's winning steals titles, scoring titles, dunk contests, in the MVP race, all this stuff. He coming up behind Magic and Bird. And that could be Anthony Edwards if he goes out there and really shows you this guy's just playing basketball. He ain't being dominant at steals or scoring title. He don't want to compete in the dunk contest. These dudes is really scared of a plumber, Matt McClung. They scared of this guy since he came in. They won't come in there. Jaylen Brown just got out dunked by a plumber last year. So what are they going to do with the dunk contest this year? First of all, they should have banned that. They should have not even let Matt McClung even dunk in the dunk contest because he's in the G League. They should not even let him. And for Matt McClung not to be in the NBA, but Bronny James is, and can you explain this? How is Bronny James going to make the All-Star game as a G League player? All of a sudden, they get to play in the All-Star game in one of the tournaments. So how is Bronny going to make a G League All-Star appearance when he's only playing when they play at home? He's not playing when they play away games. So what would be, if you looked at the other players in the G League compared to Bronny, how would Bronny, now I didn't say he's going to make it, but suddenly the G League players are playing in the All-Star game. So There has to be something to it. And if you can vote G League players, because that's what the All-Star game is based on votes, then you already know they're gonna get Bronny James in there. You already know it. Off of popularity. And he's gonna go in there and he's gonna do what? Brick it up, stink it up, everything. But they'll find some way to get LeBron James and Bronny on the same damn team. Sports used to be headlined and used to be sold based on greatness. I told you guys, look at what we got out here. In pop culture, movies, music, sitcoms, everything is no longer any greatness. That you will be like, man, that's the next Denzel, that's the next Mariah Carey, that's the next Prince, that's the next Bon Jovi, that's the next. It always was the next when I was growing up, right? The 60s topped the 50s, the 70s topped the 60s, the 80s topped the 70s. You know what I'm saying? The 90s topped the 80s. In the 2000s was really the last grand finale. From about 2000 to about 2010 or 12, they stopped making greatness. They stopped making great stars. And if it wasn't like, I'm not trying to always say that this celebrity or this sports player was always better than the prior, but it was always greatness being carried on so somebody else could carry the greatness on. Kobe Bryant was trying to carry the greatness of Michael Jordan. Do you see anywhere where LeBron James carried the greatness from Kobe Bryant? No, because LeBron James was not handed the torch. That's the problem. And because he could not win his first finals without a super team, he never got the torch passed to him. The media just stole it from Kobe and said, "Look, we'll be your excuse maker. We'll be the reason why of your greatness." That's it. We told you Kobe didn't need the media. He didn't like the media. When you go out there and your game spoke for itself. Kobe's game spoke for itself. His hard work, his commitment. They begged him to go on the Olympic team. He was going to destroy LeBron James in the 09-10 finals. So LeBron James didn't show up. Guy had the number one seed overall in the playoffs 2 years in a row in the best team. Folks, the best team. They will go back 09-010 and listen to what the media said about LeBron James' team. The best team in the NBA. Guess what? This guy did not show up. You already knew. Kobe was going to destroy him. Kobe was going to take it out on LeBron James for what the media did to him. And basically what the media did was left him for dead. So he's going to take it out on LeBron James. And LeBron James didn't show up on purpose to the finals because he already knew his career was going to be over. Because Kobe was going to destroy him in the finals. Because go listen to all them interviews in 2007, 8, 9, 10. LeBron saying, Kobe the best player. Kobe the best player. Kobe the best player in the league. Kobe got the best skills. Kobe the best player. That's all you heard from LeBron James. Kobe never said that about LeBron James. He said LeBron James was a great player. And that's it. He never said he was the best player in the league, but over and over and over again, countless times, LeBron says Kobe's the best player in the league, and that's because of his skills. Kobe was going to destroy this guy. And they're best friends, so it wasn't like he hated him, but it was something personal, like Michael Jordan. Like Michael Jordan heard somebody was the best. Well, let's see about this. Let's see about this, Clyde Drexler. Let's see about, you won the MVP over me? Well, let's see about this. LeBron ain't fixing to do nothing like that. He ain't about to do nothing and no payback like that. Remember, LeBron's, we ain't even going to talk about that no more. We talked about that. But you guys tell me what you think, man, with this whole gimmick thing and, Joker being disrespected, man. And they're going to find a way for LeBron James to win that All-Star tournament. We all know that.